Oh man. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. YouTube was looking crazy just now. Are we good? Nah, I think we might be good. Anyway,
Getting a chance to meet you. So
hold on.
many
Just
high
give me a bit.
profile lawsuits. We covered so much of this here on Sidebar. And while there certainly has been drama along the way,
Here we go.
into, but a federal judge referred him to the grievance committee in New York. United States
Here we go.
of reckless partying, drugging others, sexual violence, and other illegal conduct. Yeah, so you can see he kind of has a certain dramatic flair to his filings. But Mr. Blackburn has also come into the spotlight a bit for other reasons. You see, not only has he been criticized by opposing counsel, which we're going to get into, but a federal judge referred him to the grievance committee in New York. United States District Court Judge for the Southern District of New York, Denise Coate, submitted a referral to the New York Federal Court Grievance Committee claiming that there were issues with Blackburn in 5 cases. She wrote in one of these filings, quote, "A reasonable inference from Blackburn's pattern of behavior is that he improperly files cases in federal court to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly." Well, with all of that, now Tyrone Blackburn is fighting back. Not necessarily with the judge. He claims he already issued a response regarding that issue. But what we're talking about now is more specifically with respect to Sean Combs, because he is fighting back against the defendants in one of these lawsuits from filing sanctions against him. Let me explain. So Tyrone Blackburn represents Rodney Little Rod Jones, who sued Combs, Combs-affiliated companies, and others, including actor Cuba Gooding Jr. Jones alleges sexual assault, harassment, sex trafficking. As part of the lawsuit, Jones was suing Motown Records, Universal Music Group, UMG, and Lucian Grange, the CEO of UMG. Collectively, they're known as the UMG defendants. We're going to be saying that a lot. Now, interestingly, these defendants, or the attorney who represents these defendants, in a filing wrote, quote, "Plaintiff had also named Universal Music Group as a defendant, but there is no such juridical entity. Universal Music Group is an umbrella name commonly used to refer to all of the various companies and record labels that are encompassed within UMG Recordings, Inc. I therefore assume that plaintiff has misnamed Universal Music Group, intending to actually name UMG Recordings, Inc., and I will refer to Universal Music Group herein as UMG Recordings, Inc." Okay, so would not be great if you get the name wrong of one of the defendants, but putting that aside, with that, Jones alleges that all of these entities are liable for the abuse that he suffered at the hands of Sean Combs. The idea is that all of these defendants are part of this illegal criminal enterprise in violation of RICO, or racketeering law, making money by forcing and threatening people like Jones to transport drugs and guns, solicit minors and sex workers, and make music without properly paying individuals like Jones. That these UMG defendants and other affiliated companies should have been monitoring or warning or supervising what Combs and his associates were allegedly doing, but instead they just wanted to enrich themselves. Now, Jones, despite all of that, through Blackburn, ultimately decided to drop the case against the UMG defendants. And that's the issue. Based upon new filings from Mr. Blackburn, it seems that there was an agreement here between him and opposing counsel to drop the claims against these specific defendants as long as defense counsel didn't file a sanctions motion against him and Mr. Jones. And this is where it gets very thorny. Again, I'm going to explain why this is all important in the grand scheme. But Mr. Blackburn just filed a declaration with the court where he explains what's going on. And a declaration is basically a statement you make under penalty of perjury. So, yeah, don't lie. Now, in his own declaration, Blackburn wrote, quote, "On May 10th, 2024, I emailed Donald Zakarin, counsel for the UMG defendants, to inform him of the plaintiff's decision to dismiss the case against them. I sent Zakarin my proposed notice of dismissal. Zakarin insisted on drafting a completely different notice of voluntary dismissal and declaration. I filed the document prepared by Zakarin as an extension of good faith. Now, when you read this document, it seems that Blackburn is agreeing that there is no legal or factual basis for the allegations against these UMG defendants. Wow. Why? Well, Blackburn explains in his declaration that his team had spent extensive time researching and investigating the validity of Sean Combs' signature on this agreement between Love Records, Combs, and Motown. He says that they pulled over 40 examples of Combs' signature from agreements. We even secured the services of a handwriting expert who confirmed our suspicions that Combs did not sign the agreement with Motown. As a result, Plaintiff Jones felt that Motown and the UMG defendants were more than likely victims of fraud perpetrated by Combs, and it would be impossible to hold them equally liable for the harm Combs visited upon Mr. Jones. So here, Blackburn appears to be saying, we did more research into this connection between the record labels and Combs and found that they might actually be victims of a larger scheme by Combs, and maybe they shouldn't be on the hook for what Combs allegedly did. I think it would also be a question of, if you present that at trial, perhaps a jury would find these defendants sympathetic, and they might and Jones might actually lose. So Blackburn says we discovered all this. Now he says before we discovered all this, Mr. Zakarin had filed a notice that he'd be asking for sanctions against me, Mr. Blackburn, and my client, Mr. Jones. And that is a big deal. When we talk about sanctions, we're talking about monetary penalties for some egregious behavior. Here, Zakarin is asking for sanctions pursuant to Rule 11 under the federal rules, which basically says you can't file a pleading or a motion or a paper for an improper purpose. You need to have some basis in support for what you're alleging, basis in law and fact. You can't file frivolous claims or arguments. And that makes sense, right? You can't use the legal system as an unfair weapon. So Zakarin is claiming that Mr. Blackburn made a lot of wild accusations in Jones' lawsuits that weren't necessarily supported by facts or evidence. And this complaint was filed purely to harass and defame the defendants and to garner media attention for Jones. And this motion that was asking for sanctions against Blackburn and Jones included a sworn declaration from Zakarin. And one of the things he says is, quote, I sought at the very outset of this case on March 4th, 2024, to explain to Mr. Blackburn that his allegations against UMG were factually baseless and that there was also no legal merit to the claims. Had he conducted a proper examination of the facts and the law, he could not have filed the FAC, First Amended Complaint, which would have spared my clients the hundreds of thousands of dollars in unnecessary legal fees and expenses that this action has now cost them. In one of the filings, Zakarin explains, you claim that Sir Lucian Grange and Miss Habtemariam, that's Ethiopia Habtemariam, the former chairwoman and CEO of Motown, visited Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami in the evenings, and both would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedrooms. Aside from the absurd oddity of the identical alleged behavior by two individuals separately on apparently separate occasions, the entire story about their attendance at any events at Mr. Combs' homes or any listening parties is completely fabricated. Sir Lucian Grange has never been to Mr. Combs' homes in L.A. or Miami and never attended or sponsored any listening parties at any of Mr. Combs' homes and was not present at any writers' camps. Thus, everything alleged about both Sir Lucian Grange's supposed knowledge of illicit and illegal activities engaged in by Mr. Combs and others are categorically false. And there are hundreds and hundreds of pages in these memo filings, but it kind of gives you an idea of the accusations against Blackburn and Jones, but especially Mr. Blackburn, right? And there are also sworn declarations from a few of the defendants I mentioned, including Miss Habtemariam and Mr. Grange, and we're going to give you a sample of those. So in her statement, Habtemariam says, being falsely accused of criminal conduct is deeply upsetting to me. I did no wrong. I never saw or participated in any alleged racketeering enterprise, and I never saw, aided, or abetted, or tried to conceal any sex trafficking activity. And Habtemariam claims that Blackburn offered to drop her from the lawsuit if she signed a declaration, but she says the narrative that he provided in that was completely false, so she refused to sign it. Lucian Grange provided a similar sworn statement, and right off the bat, he pointed out something very important. As the second amended complaint admits, I am a resident of California, not New York. As I will detail below, I engaged in no activity in New York whatsoever with respect to this matter. So that would essentially mean that there's a jurisdiction issue. He shouldn't be a part of a New York lawsuit. And he also says that, quote, none of these allegations are supported by a single fact. Okay, so now you know what the sanctions are all about. We now have to talk about Monday, because on Monday, Mr. Blackburn fired back at Zakarin in his own hundreds of pages. Even the exhibits have exhibits. So again, we're going to give you an overview. So Blackburn, in his declaration, says, look, we received this email from opposing counsel back on April 26, 2024. That email, by the way, is included in these filings. And in that email from opposing counsel to Blackburn, it says, quote, you have 21 days to withdraw all claims asserted against the UMG defendants with prejudice, meaning you can't refile the claims. Your failure to do so will result in the filing of this motion with the court. So that's what, May 17th, 2024. Blackburn says, we did that. We filed the documents. We dismissed the claims. We thought we were in the clear. But Blackburn says Zakarin double-crossed us by filing a revamped version of the Rule 11 sanctions motion anyway. Blackburn uses words like unethical gamemanship, double-crossed, disguised, all to describe this alleged move by Zakarin. He makes the claim that Zakarin tried to disguise this as a motion under a different statute, but it's basically the same thing. Which, by the way, is maybe not that surprising that Zakarin did this, because in an email to Blackburn, Zakarin wrote, you seem to believe that having filed 3 separate complaints over the past 2 months, each of which is filled with offensively false accusations of criminal conduct that you either knew were completely false or as to which you were completely indifferent to whether they were true or false, you can skate away unscathed.
Yo, to keep it real, this is why, number one, you can't fuck with the industry, the music industry. So this guy, I'm not going to speak too much about it because number one, y'all all are aware that he's suing me on behalf of somebody, right? So I won't really say too much. But again, we've heard about these sanctions. We've heard about whatever people have said, oh, this is guy's MO. The only people who really you just shouldn't fuck with. Like, it's one thing you're fucking with, like, even like on the higher up scale, yeah, you're fucking with Diddy. Now, granted, Diddy got some real shit going on, right? So, like, he's not going to look to try to make an example out of you. Universal Music Group, the heart, soul, and body of music at all. Nigga, they got the best attorneys known to man. Like, nigga, like, these lawyers are fucking wolves. Like, it literally, I think that they might do the Lord's work. They about to chew this nigga up. Pause.
By your conduct simply by proposing terms on which you would dismiss the current version of the complaint with prejudice. You appear indifferent to the harm you and your client have caused.
By the way, also, to give more context, think about, like, big organizations. Think about Apple. Apple probably have some of the best lawyers to man. Like, they're probably paying millions of dollars. They take all these things serious. If there's ever a lawsuit that is successful against them, it gives precedence for other people to say the same thing. They're going to go bankrupt out of business. So what they do and what this seems like they're doing, they seen that they got sued multiple times. Every time this guy that represents these clients sued Diddy, they included the record label, basically saying this is one of the liable parties. I think the UMG, which is the biggest record label, they're basically at this point saying, you know what, we got to make an example out of you, motherfucker, because you keep thinking that bringing us to court, we're one of these little niggas. So clearly that's what they're doing. And I didn't even look like they kind of start twisting his arm where he's copping a plea like, yo, I'll drop the lawsuit. I'll drop the lawsuit as long as don't refer sanctions to me, please. And look like he drops the lawsuit. And then they said, well, nigga, we still doing it.
Caused to completely innocent people and companies. But Blackburn goes back to say, we agreed to dismiss the claim so you wouldn't try to sanction us. And Blackburn states, look, I honestly should have known better than to believe that Zakarin would act with integrity. Blackburn then goes on to defend himself, saying he didn't act in bad faith when he filed this lawsuit against the UMG defendants, that this lawsuit was instituted because the UMG defendants knowingly conducted business with Combs, whom they knew or should have known was a violent, deceptive, morally flawed individual. He says this lawsuit was not instituted for some improper purpose, but rather for the very legitimate purpose of recovering damages for the UMG defendants' reckless, self-serving decision to enter a partnership with Combs to develop Love Records. He says that what he was doing was based on a reasonable investigation. He claims he spoke with witnesses, that Mr. Jones had corroborating evidence like text messages, video recordings, and it really should be no surprise that these defendants were added to this lawsuit given what Blackburn says is Combs' notorious history, that he's facing 8 lawsuits accusing him of rape and sex trafficking. And Blackburn actually doubles down on this, and he's like, you know what? Every claim that plaintiff Jones has raised has turned out to be true. Jones alleged that Brendan Paul, Combs' associate, was his drug mule. And guess what? Paul gets arrested on March 25th on drug charges. Jones says that Combs is a sex trafficker, and then the raids happen. Blackburn says all of this is really about the fact that the UMG defendants want to separate themselves as much from Combs, but this is their own fault. In fact, he uses this language. Remember I talked about colorful language? Before November 16th, 2023, that was the date when Cassandra Ventura filed her lawsuit against Sean Combs. This is his ex-girlfriend. Defendants were willing to crawl over hot coals to touch the hem of Combs' garment. Yeah, you can see that there's really no love lost between these attorneys. And in fact, there's a lot of email correspondence between Blackburn and Zakarian, and it gets kind of juicy. I mean, in an email dated on April 11th, Blackburn writes, "Donald, you can attack my character all you want, but your client has unclean hands. I've spoken to many recently former UMG employees, some of whom were close to your beloved Lucian. I also know for a fact that your client has engaged in questionable and unethical business practices for years, if not decades."
Yo, that is crazy. Yo, emailing and threatening. I'm reading it like it sounds like a threat. Threatening the CEO of UMG through their huge law firm is like crazy.
I will not put all I know in this email, but I do know that you, sir, are doing your client a huge disservice. Now, in terms of Zakarian, one of the things that he has accused Blackburn of was not answering his phone and seemingly disappearing. In one of his replies, Zakarian says, "Your problem in responding is not due to a lack of information or knowledge on your part, but due to the fact that you filed knowingly false complaints without any factual or legal basis, and your desperate effort to manufacture some way to avoid dismissal and Rule 11 sanctions will be quite obvious to the judge when you seek further time and discovery. Oh, and you should be aware that a frivolous motion for sanctions is itself sanctionable. Mr. Blackburn, the first rule of self-preservation is when you're in a hole of your own creation, stop digging. You obviously have not yet learned that lesson. You're going to find it a painful lesson here, but you have earned that pain."
Oh, nah.
Wow. Heated. It's like they should wrestle one another. My gosh. But again, this is kind of a summary of some back and forth. But
now, also, you have to think about this too, chat, right? So Universal Music Group, they have this big law firm, all these attorneys, but they're probably wasted millions of dollars, like kind of going back and forth with this individual who sued them multiple times on the basis of, oh, y'all were giving Diddy the money that made him do this shit. So at this point, they're more than just upset. We've lost millions of dollars basically dealing with these, what they would, I guess they're thinking is frivolous. So now it looked like they're trying to go on the offensive. That's kind of interesting.
But I'm going to tell you now why this matters. I'm going to give you the big picture. Why do we care about this? Why do we care about Tyrone Blackbird? I'm going to tell you why. This all goes to one thing and one thing only: credibility. The credibility of these accusations, the strength of these claims is what Rodney Jones and other plaintiffs being represented by Blackburn saying, is it true? Yes, Sean Combs is facing multiple lawsuits. Yes, the feds raided his homes, and there appears to be an ongoing federal investigation that could possibly result in criminal charges. But Combs hasn't been charged. He hasn't been found liable in court yet.
Reporting indicates that authorities may still be gathering information in this case, so they might not have it ready to actually present for an indictment. Now, I should tell you, if this is true, it does confirm what we have been saying, that investigators have probably been talking with a number of people, including possible Combs accusers. That's why we didn't see arrests on the day of the raids, and we didn't see arrests immediately. It takes time to build these kinds of cases. And again, we do not know what role Combs may be playing in this investigation. But investigators, they have to analyze what was taken from those properties during those raids. They have to interview. Horrifying broke up was Combs' apology 2 days later on Instagram. He would have denied it like he's denied the allegations in the past. Billboard reported that airplay of Combs' songs was down significantly overall. City of New York reportedly considering taking back the key to the city that was given to Sean Combs in September of last year in a productive way. That hallway is almost identical to the video. So it does give credence.
All right, well, very interesting. Very interesting. More will be revealed, Chad. Very, very interesting. Okay. What did I have next? I did have something else next. Let me see. Nicki Minaj talking about Lil' Kim. I guess I could do that. Apparently Nicki Minaj is taking a break from music or something of the sort. Where is it? Nicki Minaj says, can't even just put your feet up and just suck some cock no more. Relax and be on vacation. I'm deleting all apps until 2035. Whoever said alive by that date, I'll hit you from my new line. Hold your head. Okay, now this is her jumping in her husband's arms, going on to their private jet. And, yep, there we go. Okay, I guess that's why someone would say, bro ain't even making up the steps holding her. And I guess she wanted to prove that nigga wrong. Yeah. Okay, cool. She did. I seen her like send out this like lengthy tweet. And essentially she's been rolling around with Waka Flocka's mom on her tour, Deb Anthony. And apparently Deb had an interview where Deb basically said that, you know, in the work that she's been doing with Nicki, she was trying to set up Nicki Minaj to possibly squash her beef with Lil' Kim, because she wanted her to bring out Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown. Nicki still hates Lil' Kim, and she did a lengthy response to Deb's Anthony interview. And by the way, let me play Deb Anthony statement first.
Ever be willing to try to get her to sit down with possibly Cardi B and Lil' Kim to try to amend their differences? I would love to see that. I would love to see them all come together.
I think that we all would love to see that, but people would have to be willing to do that. And to be perfectly honest with you, she's going to kill me for even saying this, but I did reach out to Kim.
Okay.
And
it's just
so I think that.
Would you ever be willing to try to get her to sit down with?
Okay. Now, Nicki Minaj responded promptly to that. She said, Deb, isn't it funny how you left out the biggest part of the story? Gag City, second leg tour in the U.S. begins September. Next stop, Italy. Previous stop, Morocco. Almost 200K beautiful people came out. I didn't ask you to do a damn thing. You told me after the fact, and I screamed on you and told you if you reach out to people that you're, now that you're being seen around me, they'll think it's coming from me. So never to do that again without discussing with me first. I said I'd never want that. And that now she think that message came from me, which is not cool. Okay, Pink Friday, blah, blah, da, da, da. She's naming her stats in the middle of it. She said, so yeah, you laughed it off and said her and Foxy should come out. And I said, no, I'd only want Foxy to come out on stage with me. She's like family to me. No disrespect. God bless everyone and our children. Let's do our thing and thank God for life. Stop using my name for clickbait in 2024. We get it. I'm that bitch. Then it says, how dare you? Interviews? Chai. Whoa-wee. This world, man. This world. Love yourself deeply. Okay. Nicki Minaj ain't down to squash her beef with Lil' Kim. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not mad at it. Again, I think there's a lot of things cyclical that comes back around. I think Nicki gets age shamed a bit, and that's what she used to do to Lil' Kim. However, her issues with Lil' Kim, again, I don't know the full context of it, but I'm not mad at somebody who said, man, I'm not sending no hate to that woman, but I don't want to be cool with her. We don't got to have a kumbaya moment. We don't have to have oh, okay, let's bring him out on stage. We don't have to have that type of moment. And I'm completely fine with Nicki Minaj having that opinion, right? I'm pretty sure that Lil' Kim is in her own world at this point. She don't necessarily need Nicki Minaj, nor do Nicki Minaj need her. I think we got to stop normalizing people having to give some type of fairy tale story ending. No, sometimes people don't get along, and the best way to move forward is to leave that person out of your life, or just leave that person out of your story. You know what I mean? So clearly that's what Nicki's choosing to do. I don't see Nicki still dissing her. I don't see her still talking about Nicki. So if Nicki's spirit don't agree with it and don't want to be cool with her, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? You don't gotta. And also, I think Nicki probably looks at it like this, like, you know, Lil' Kim's a legend, of course, but like, Nicki's still relevant in the now. I think that she might be like, man, I'm not trying to help that woman get back in the now conversation. She's a legend overall, but no, I'm good. Again, you can't be mad at Nicki. And also, I think Deb, even though I think her talking about writing that long ass message to Deb was her just trying to smoke signal to Lil' Kim if she thought that she was down with it. Like, no, I'm not. But I think that's the respect she has for Deb. I think anybody else is fired. Anybody else would get fired by Nicki instantly. But her and Deb has a long-standing relationship from back in the, you know what I mean, the hanging around 10, 17 days and Deb Anthony's situation with that. So I think that's why she kind of gives her some grace, even though she called her out, like, yo, please, like, be careful. You're with me now. Anything you say, they're going to think you're talking for me, which half of these bitches I don't fuck with. So, hey, Nicki's the boss. You got to let it rock. You know what I'm saying? All right. Alrighty then. Am I missing anything? I feel like I've pretty much hit all the topics. We're pretty much at like 7 hours now. Sweetie talks about why she hates the nepo baby narrative when it comes to her career. I hate the nepo baby narrative. It splits the faces of the child who grew up spending barely time with her parents because she was too busy hustling to try to make ends meet. Also, I think Sweetie, the college girl, would have had a wealthy family pay for her tuition and board, and so she could blah, blah, blah. Saying I'm privileged ignores the girls that risked her safety rented off rooms off Craigslist because she believed in herself enough to stay at an expensive city while everyone was telling her to move at home. Yo, with all due respect, and Sweetie, I'm gonna say this in the nicest way possible. You ain't had no goddamn fucking struggle coming up. And I mean, obviously you had to put work in, but like, I think when people are thinking about struggle, and I don't know if this is from some LeBron James son going into league thing that everybody's talking about nepotism. I don't think Sweetie doesn't have a story. Let me not say when I say struggle, like you got to be like desolate and poor, but for the most part, man, you know, man, it's hard for me to listen to Sweetie talking about her privilege. Like, yo, Sweetie, man, you got so much shit going for you. You got pretty privilege. You have all type of privilege that's working for you. Listen, when an ugly nigga, like, put it like this, you know who probably had to struggle, man? An ugly nigga like Young Thug. Real talk. Like, did you see Young Thug? That nigga had 5 rotten teeth, missing half a gum. That nigga was like missing his jawline. That nigga looked fucked up. If you looked at Young Thug, if somebody could tell me he'd be fucking bitches like Mariah the Scientist and Jerica Carle and be one of the biggest artists in the world, that's struggle, okay? That nigga looked like he had about like $3.48 to his goddamn name before he got famous. You were the baddest bitch at your goddamn college. Even if you didn't survive in rap or make it to be like some type of rap star, Sweetie, some rich nigga would have wiped you up. Like, you'd have still been good. Young Thug would have been literally probably dead on the side of the road if somehow he didn't make it out of that. Look at this. Young Thug 2011 in the hood. Let's like, look at this.
He say he good. Hold on. Let me wind it out. Let me wind it out. Hey, Bob, I get on the nigga.
Come on, bro.
Hold on. My nigga.
You brought out right here, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right, you check him out. Only nigga I know take cameras and fuck up.
Listen, guys, this is what he doing. Hold on. He's on his phone.
Come on, man. Like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's struggle, bro. Like, y'all remember him with fucked up teeth and shit like that? Like, where's the other footage? Yeah. No, that's after he got on. There's one with him in the hood. There's one with Young Thug in the hood looking real fucked up, bro. Look at this shit. Like, come on, bro. Young Thug had a face only a mother could love. Like, come on, bro. Like, this is struggle. Like, get out of here, sweetie. With all due respect, girl, like, we happy for you, man. But some could make the point, and some do make the point, that they believe you're more looks than talent. So, like, you know what I mean? They're not over here looking at you like, oh my God, you had to struggle a lot. Like, yo, you had some good things going for you. Young Thug was an ugly motherfucker, barely could be coherent, barely could talk, look stupid as fuck. You know what I mean? Teeth rotten as hell. The nigga, like, literally is green. I mean, yo, for him to make it, that's what struggle is, if you ask me. And by the way, I'm not saying it's a diss Thug. I'm just telling you, that nigga came from, like, the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be the bad bitch walking around your campus who is going to get, like, a nigga that's rich anyway, and then you happen to be, like, some type of mid-tier or even low-tier rap artist as a female and talking about the struggle. You ain't got no goddamn struggle. What the fuck? This is struggle right here, man. Come the fuck up. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Like, this is struggle. Most of the rappers, you know, like, you ever seen Gucci Mane? Like, there's an old video of Gucci Mane before it got on. Come on, it got a face only a mother could love. Ugly as shit, dirty t-shirt, you know what I mean? Breath look like it stink through the camera, you know what I mean? Like, come on, like, that's struggle. So, like, it's hard for me to see, like, a female rapper that jump into this. Like, most of these female rappers I get on, I'm not saying all, like, half of the reason y'all even on is because y'all looks, which means God bless you from the get-go. God bless you as soon as you were born. Pretty. Your life is set already. We talking about a nigga who just fucked up, looking ugly, gotta shoot niggas, gotta rob niggas, probably got shot 5 times. These niggas somehow gotta make it. This is a whole different type of struggle. So with all due respect to Sweetie, you get what I'm saying? Talking about, oh yeah, you know what I mean? I had to like, you know what I mean? Like, go work weird jobs to go pay for an apartment off campus and blah, blah. Okay. Got you. Okay. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't even know you were associated with the nepotism argument, all right? In the context of nepotism, the boss, Ricky Ross, talked about Bronny James. He said this.
Nepotism. Y'all make me sick. Every 2 years, y'all come up with a new word. The narrative. Toxicity. Toxic. Now it's nepotism. Nepotism. 85% of all you motherfuckers got a job by somebody you know, and that ain't even what I'm referring to. Lil Bronny a bigger star than 95% of the motherfuckers in the league, man. This big business. Lil Bronny will sell more Wingstop wings than anybody. 95% of them people that's in the motherfucking backup squads and all that shit. Y'all want to say nepotism. First niggas who want to get in the concert free. You niggas standing in line at the side door in the rain, and you want to say nepotism. Nepotism. Y'all, who was he supposed to play for? Phil Knight's son supposed to go and run Avia or get that Nike money? Y'all let me know. Bronny, as soon as you get out there on that court, make sure you throw that baby powder in the sky. And you run out there and do that leg pump. That's right. Who was he supposed to play for? Phil Knight's son supposed to go and...
Yeah, now I agree with Ross, but partially though. Here's my problem when it comes to the NBA. The NBA is becoming almost like golf to a certain extent. You know what I mean? The only way these kids of former basketball players don't make it to the league is if they lose the genetic lottery, right? Like if Bronny, even if LeBron was LeBron's LeBron. If Bronny was 6'9", he would be the first round pick. Like, I mean, again, most of these, from what I've watched when it comes to basketball, like a lot of this shit is like, you know, at least when it comes to the draft, there is certain type of nepotism, and also, you know, oh, they play with these teams and these schools. You know what I mean? It kind of becomes almost like curated, where like the sons of these athletes definitely kind of have like this advantage. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But you know, I kind of worry about basketball in that aspect, because what happens to the kid who's in the park with no connections, and his only way of getting out of the hood is just balling. And again, I'm not the one of the people who's saying Bronny, like I'm mad that Bronny's in the league, but you know, we just got to think about it. What does happen in that situation where basically now the future drafts is, okay, we know we're going to get Steph Curry's son, we're going to get this guy's son, and it's kind of almost like we're going to just have the juniors and keep it in the family almost more than, it being really one of the it's always been like a viable way for people to get out the hood. It still is, but there is a lot of, it's becoming more and more increasingly kind of almost curtailed to like the sons of like these former players. Sometimes they got the money and resources to give the proper training, put them in the right program, the right coaches, this and third, the right, have them run with the right squad that could kind of give them a leg up against the competition. And I mean, I can't knock the parents for doing it. Like, shit, that's what you're supposed to do for your kid. But I do worry about the kids that don't have those resources, because I don't think they're battling on the same playing field. But again, it's life. Basketball isn't necessarily supposed to be a I don't know, say it's a 0.001% chance. It's not supposed to be that for everybody equally. You know what I mean? You got to get it out you live in, and the true talent is going to rise to the top. And also, if you're like a son of somebody who was great and you make it into league and you suck, you're gonna get kicked out. You're not gonna go nowhere. So, how much can we really complain about nepotism? Nepotism might put you and give you the start, put you in the spot, especially when it comes to merit-based sport like basketball. But it won't keep you there unless you're like Austin Rivers, which I think that story's been told a bunch, right? Okay. Hey, by the way, chat, if y'all are on YouTube, please, I want y'all to do me a favor real quick, man. On the King Akademiks page, we're like 10 subscribers away from 821,000. So I want you guys to hit that subscription button. If you guys do want to talk in the chat and you can't talk and you've just been watching, all you got to do is make an account on YouTube, hit the subscription button to the King Akademiks channel. We also go live on here. We do have the Academy channel back as well. Or not back, but we have that. We just haven't used it. And we're, of course, on Rumble and Twitch. Chat, I think we did 7 hours today. I think that's a good time. I'll call it a day today. Whatever develops over tonight when it comes to this whole Rick Ross situation, I'm going to also reach out to Sam Sneak and see what's up. We'll probably get more information on that tomorrow and also just see how all this stuff develops. Honestly, like I'm kind of Kendrick and Draked out. But still, it's kind of what people still want to talk about. We've been beating the same horse dead, but somehow it keeps waking back up on some Julio Fulio shit. So we'll see what it is, man. Anyway, chat, I do love y'all. I will talk to y'all later. And yeah, I think I read all the relevant stuff. Yeah, chat, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Maybe a little bit later or maybe a little bit earlier. Either one. Maybe we probably do an earlier time, right? Like, I don't know. Let me start maybe at noon to 6, noon to 5, probably something like that. All right, chat. Peace. Catch y'all tomorrow.
Man, we all watched and witnessed in 4K what Diddy has done, bro. There's no more trying to defend it or anything. Diddy is cooked. He's done. It's over with. Man, I was never one of the ones to try and defend Diddy, but I will say this. I did think a point in time was gonna come where like Diddy just disappears and he repops back up and people might still hate him, but it won't be as bad. It's completely done now. Cause now that this came out, there's gonna be more and more and more stuff that comes out. And they said Diddy paid $50K for like the footage not to come out or anything. Diddy's done. He knows he's done too. Like there's nothing else to be said. Like the thing is, like with cases and stuff, like it's usually a he say she say thing until like when 4K proof comes out and you see Diddy running out, like someone's gonna make this into an animated skit. He probably ran. There was probably 2 dudes in the room. He probably ran out from a freak off, high off we don't know what. And you feel me? Cassie was trying to get out of there quick. She didn't even put her shoes on. And we see what happened, bro. I don't know what's next. I really don't know what to say what's next for Diddy, bro. I don't even know if I feel bad for Diddy. But like, Man, all this stuff, it's just crazy, bro. At this point, it's just crazy and it's sad. And man, you can't really feel bad for Diddy because he did it to himself, bro. Like, I seen a comment and someone said, damn, they trying to go so hard at Diddy. Like, look how they target him so hard. Like, bro, when video proof like this comes out, bro, what are you talking about? They're targeting him. He did it to himself. If you never did these things, this would have never happened. And like that, it gets me so hot, bro. Like, cause I like before, bro. Like, I don't want any of this stuff to be true, but it's happened. It's life. Like sometimes it's like with an artist, like you don't want certain things to be true, but stuff just happens. Like, and the crazy thing is, like Jay-Z's been MIA, and people keep bringing Jay-Z up. I swear, like now that other people are seeing how stuff is going with Diddy, bro, the whole industry, like take color out of it. Black, white, Hispanic, probably Asian too. All that, they were probably all like, all the higher ups are probably all doing the same stuff that Diddy's doing. But they're looking at this right now, and I promise you, the people who they know have the proof, they're all getting paid off right now. Every single one of them. NDAs getting paid off, all that stuff. Who knows? They might be getting, I'm not saying that people might hire hitmen, but hey, Diddy probably in this is probably gonna lose from now until the rest of his life, probably over $1 billion in profit that he just lost off this case. From now into the future, he probably lost over adding $1 billion extra dollars. He probably lost that, probably more than that easily. Like, think of that. For that much money, yes, someone might get clapped. So people might be getting clapped over these situations. We don't know. But hey, man, I don't want to seem like a conspiracy theorist and go too deep in. But let me know how you guys feel about everything. Who else do we feel like is a part of all of this? You feel me? It's so crazy, bro. That Cat Williams interview really started off the beginning, like how the year was gonna go. He said all the lies are gonna, you feel me, are gonna like fold wherever he said, and the truth is gonna come to light. All the truths are coming to light, bro. All of it. But you feel me? Man, it's crazy, bro. Let me know how you guys feel about everything, though. It's your boy Big Act News. I'm sorry, Cassie, that this happened to you. I'm not even gonna joke or say any jokes about Cassie. I hope that she's doing good mentally, physically. We don't know what, like, all the stuff that she said in the lawsuit. It has to be true. She got paid 2 days after it. 2 days, probably $30+ million. And look what's still happening. It still happened to him. He should have paid her before that. He should have never made those documents or even make it to court. He should just paid her, or you feel me, did what he has to do. But man, bro, I don't even know anymore. It's your boy Big Act News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It's crazy out here, man.